we had any more stats about these guys coming in, because it was just fantastic to see them absolutely mastering the high ground. And the thing I keep noticing, Mini Miner, with these two, as long as they can get off Redline Rig, they always have one of the best loadouts in the game.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what Redline Rig gives you, isn't it? It gives you that assault rifle, gives you that medallion as well. We spoke about it, Levin, as well at the beginning of yesterday. They can trade Surge with that medallion. They don't have to expend loads of their heals in the mid-game. It seems like they've got a little bit more contestation, a little bit of drama around them at the moment as well. On today, it seems like that's going to be a little bit of a problem for them, but they seem to have solved it so far, and in good time as well, with 3 games to go.
That game was interesting, right? Because they had some really nice zone pulls. We saw them actually when we were watching Janice sitting on top of that large rock, right? Solo trying to like get Surge. A lot of the damage he was receiving was coming from Malibukum and Sasha. Those guys were taking so much shots at him. They obviously got a good island pull as well, which they played for. It meant Mustache could use that mythic hand cannon. Like, everything just sort of like played perfectly for them in that game. And it's good to see that with the perfect circumstances around them, they were able to actually deliver and get the win.
But Malibuka in particular is on fire this weekend. So let's take a look and see if he's made it onto our list of highest eliminators. We've got some important numbers from the game so far to bring you. And I do have it on good authority that actually it's Mustache who is 14th. And if you consider that they were just outside the top 10, the fact that he's one of our highest individual eliminators, Mini Miner, is pretty impressive.
Yeah, very impressive indeed. And again, going back to yesterday, we were talking about how Mustache kind of has this ability and has this tendency maybe to start off the chapter really, really well on a really high note in Major Number 1, and then start to fall off in terms of performances and placements and whatnot. But now he's just thrown that completely out of the window. If they can get a good performance here, they're going to be definitely squashing that theory.
Yeah, I mean, the focus though has to be on the MVP of the whole weekend right now. Vico with 34 eliminations. I mean, come on. We saw them. I don't know what it will be now if we look at the leaderboards. Because I remember earlier when we looked at the standings, they had like, what, 44 eliminations or something? So the fact that he's got 34 all alone, I mean, in that last game, some of the fights in Reckless, I think it was against Caden Marine. He was bossing it. Like, he is on fire right now. Like, Vico is unbelievable. Yeah, 47 elims today. He's got 34 of them. He is a different gravy. The question I had for him coming into this weekend's Grand Finals was, will he be able to play how he's played all season? Will he, be able to make up for some of the previous Grands maybe where he didn't quite have that superstar performance like you would have expected? My oh my, has he shut me up? This is an unbelievable performance we're seeing from Vico right now.
Big thing now, though, for this duo. Sorry, Frankie, before we move on. It's that now that's their worst game of the weekend. We just saw them go down right there. 18th place with 3 eliminations. That's the first time, really, where we've seen them have a bit of a rocky game. Of course, luckily for them, another team in that top 3 also had a rough game right there. But I hope that doesn't become a trend for these last few games, because although they're up there on the leaderboard, 40-odd points ahead, it's by no means safe yet with this 1.5x points.
Well, now you've mentioned Swizzy and Vanyak in 3rd place, because I have a feeling, Mini Miner, that's the duo you're hinting at there. It's an interesting one with these guys. I feel like maybe they were struggling for Surge earlier in this game, and that maybe led to that early exit. And I feel like their eliminations aren't as high as I expect them to be, or am I barking up the wrong tree, Mini Miner?
No, they're definitely a team that have had a decent amount of eliminations, maybe not as many as we've seen from some of the other teams, sort of like mid-range in terms of that. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It was Storm Surge getting forced into these sort of fights. You can see there, Vanyak 23 below, getting ticked, and there's another team there as well that is trying to fight. At this point, it's just so difficult to even get that damage at that point, because there's just everyone starts to look at you, and yeah, it's a difficult one. It was an awkward zone for them as well. I think they couldn't quite find the damage early on like they used to.
Don't forget that the top 10 is where all of our duos want to be right now if they have not booked a spot in the Global Championships yet. And if you cast your eyes to 7th, we've got CZB and Nathan. They're managing to hold on pretty steadily to their spot in the top 10. And they've never been to a Global Championships before. And I'm starting to believe they can do it, Levin.
Yeah, I mean, they were a team that I picked as a potential, global championship qualifying team. I mean, they've been spectacular the past 2 majors throughout the season and capitulated a bit come the back end when it came to Grand Finals. Nice to see them picking up a bit of momentum here, as again, yeah, it's getting dicey. But I think the good thing, right, for any team that's like looking to try and qualify for the global championships, you look at the top 10 right now, right? You have Badil Reason in there, Mustache Malibuka in there, Suzy and Rania in there, Chaplain T. That's 4 teams who have already qualified for globals. That means top 14 is what it's going to be right now. All the teams in the top 14 would qualify to globals right now.
Yeah, but only one can win the top prize of $170,000 and the Axe of Champions. So let's see who is going to be in pole position after our next game with Takata and Jacob Pierre.
Time truly flies when you're having fun, Takata. We've already been through 9 games this weekend. This is the 4th one of the day, and it's the second half where you have to leave behind no regrets.
Yeah, what Levin was talking about too. Right now, with the amount of duos that are in the top 10 that have already qualified to global championships, top 14's Pablo Bevis. We got Prism, we got Kovacs and Hootie. A lot of top tier talent on the edge of qualifying. So let's get right into the 4th match of the day.
This is the first game of the second half of the day. The last quarter of the entire
v2 pickaxe.
to be able to capitalize and not fall behind. And I like that out of Moran and Cade. They're just not getting confident. Oh, I won an off-spawn battle. I got Surge. They know that there's still more Surge to go. They know how impactful Surge is on these lobbies as well.
Well, Lucy now talking about how impactful Surge is, going for a bit here as he gets the initial shots with the SMG, but on the other end is going to get cracked with a huge shotgun shot. Now forced to disengage, heal up, has 2 big pots, but his duo partner, looking incredibly healthy, is going to have to play defensive.
I'm saying that tree is just a little bit of a nuisance as well, taking up some space in his box. As Trulex gets found out, Chief King's that one. Chicho just dropped to just a sliver of HP. Even if he survives this, I'm not sure what he's going to be able to survive after, because they're breaking into the box. Even with a flip ramp edit, trying to attack off guard, it's still not going to be enough. They have almost every piece in that box. Turtle and Chiefs are not slowing down here.
Not at all, as they can continue with that momentum. Great way to start it off here. We'll take a look at Vico and Flixie now. Something interesting about this duo, showing just how dominant they've been. They've had at least 3 eliminations in every game. But if you look at their opposing duos, their enemies, no other team has even had 1 elimination in every game, Jacob, and they've had 3. So we'll see if they're able to maintain that. Only 1 on the board so far, 2 more to go.
I mean, there's 3 players in their line of sight, one of them being a solo. You see them kind of protecting their forecast tower as well. On top of that, Aspire and Flipmunk just trying to go all in onto Snazy. I don't know where Podesai is even at, but I gotta imagine he's down and out, especially since there is no knock. That one gets cleaned up with ease. You can see at the top side of that mini-map, Vico, Flixie, they separated just a little bit. They're putting the full trust that no one's gonna contest them at that tower. They have been one of the most aggressive teams fighting for their tower as well.
Taking a look at the mini-map, kind of thinking of the next steps here. I mean, Vico and Flixie don't need to do anything aggressive. We've seen how it's played out for them, especially seeing they already have an elimination and some shots from afar. Take a look at what happened. More towards the Grim Gate side of the map. Axe Force and Clown that originally drop at Pleasant Piazza do tend to rotate to this side of the map, but it looks like this time around they didn't get the winning side of the coin.
Yeah, it's just very troublesome. They have to not only fight their off-spawn fight, and then so many other teams that are rotating in. It's like the action doesn't slow down. You either disengage completely very quickly, or you just play a little bit more careful and slow out of that one. Reason and Deal trying to make a late case here for a top spot on that leaderboards. And they're one of the teams, when we talk about already going to the global championship, they already have that secured. So if they get into the top 10, that will just trickle down into top 11. Mini 11 set at top 12, 13, depending on all who finishes in that top 10. For some, it could realistically be a blessing.
Kovacs and Hootie now. One of the bunker battles. As kind of these situations end up in one duo continues to apply pressure, and they both kind of take shots back and forth, or even they just let the team go inside of the bunker and kind of camp out the outside. But this time around, looks like they're kind of scaring them off towards the bunker. Kovacs and Hootie are going to be the ones with the builds already placed. Not gonna hold them.
I thought he was just gonna run away, box up, and give it up. But yeah, exactly. That just puts him in a different, tough situation, because Chroma Unlocks, in theory, now could just hold them in there, not allow them to escape. But at the same time, that doesn't progress their own game if they were to do that, because they're not getting surged. They even have an empty loadout slot with 2 minis, a huge lack of materials. So I do think they're making the right decision. Just disengage, farm up, put yourself on a better footing instead of trying to just camp one team.
See how Chapentini were able to pick up a couple of eliminations. He already had one. And it looks like they got the second one shortly after, right on the edge zone, so they'll be able to rotate back in. Malibu Merstash choosing to stay on their POI here in the red line break. Swiss Ivania kind of stole their position in the last match later on once the zone continued pulling south. But it looks like the good news this time around is they do have an opportunity to take some shots of the players already boxed up. It's where Yanis was boxed up in the last match. You can see Pixie close by.
Walks and ping, kind of business as usual out here. Overcharge the underworld, not too many teams rotate in this direction. It's usually they're rotating south, of course, unless the zone does pull over here. But we do got another south zone, which creates a lot of flexibility and freedom for a fight just like this. And throughout the day yesterday, Ping and Wox did not take Storm Surge a single time. Their strategy was kind of solid throughout the entire day. But this time around, it does seem like with a lot of teams Vadraboon from day 1 to day 2, the changes that have been going down, they haven't had as good a success.
What's going on here? It looks like we're looking at a highlight reel from Chapatini just going back and forth between replays of them getting elim after elim. I said Vico and Flixia were the ones that get 3 limbs each game, not Chapatini. Don't know if they heard me right. Camiseti this time around. They're up. They are up, Jacob. They are alive.
Hey, at least they get a chance right now. They just need, a couple of 10 elimination wins back to back to close out the day. Sounds easy. Sounds easy, of course. Zakir and Easy, 328 points. I think everybody on the region might be just a little bit surprised to see them not only performing so well, but they're doing it against the FNCS Invitational Champions, against Seti and Cammy. So, to me, as long as they can keep up this pressure, maintain their position on the leaderboard, make it into these consistent games that they've been having, I think they're going to do well all right.
It's definitely giving them confidence as well, being able to be so dominant off the spawn. I mean, mind games are a lot of competition, being able to stay mentally strong. You even get those kind of boosts if you're consistently winning your off-spawn fights. You're just gonna have even more confidence into the next match. So they've been doing a great job of maintaining that dominance throughout both days of competition.
Rift Island. We know they like to go for that one, especially when it is right there next to their POI. You have to be careful because we also see Malibuca and Mustache start to go up on top of Rift Island. Queasy and Thomas, Hero and Mappy. We see a lot of teams like to make this their home, but they're just so isolated as of now. I don't think any team is going to contest them for the actual capture point. I would think maybe later in the game to try to get that elevated position to get Storm Surge off the side of the mountain. But as of now, I think Swazzy and Vaniac are just going to remain uncontested.
I hope so. As we take a look here, Amacia, who has his duo partner looking incredibly healthy. On the other hand, the Solo trying to do what he can to stay out.
Focus is just trying to hide. They know he's here somewhere. Kashi just being careful, letting Amacia heal up as much as possible. They're going back in for that loot. Whether they want to keep hunting for the Solo is up to them, but at least now they know exactly where he's at. Great shot on the Kashi, trying to turn things around. Now Zone is moving in as well. But all of those med kits, you see the floppers, that's going into Macy and Kashi's inventory, and it's rightfully earned because they're the ones who got that elimination.
See three duos at least surrounding them that have yet to make it into zone. Looks like they will make it in before them, but if there's any duos already boxed up around the Nitro Drone, there's going to be free pickings, free shots onto the players rotating back in. And all in the meantime, we've got Chap and Teeny, they want to cool down a little bit and start swimming around the map.
I heard it is one of the hottest summers in EU. So sometimes you just need to go take a trip to the beach, cool things down just a little bit, slow things down, kind of rethink their strategy, but they're also waiting for where this next zone does appear. You see Rift Island on the far left. 5th zone might be too early, but by the 6th zone, it does tend to pull away from that island. They have about 10 seconds.
What do you
nothing,
think? What do you
nothing.
think?
Oh, it's probably going to keep Rift Island in a little bit, but then in 6th zone, I think it's going all the way to the east.
Think he's going to pull water, though, in this next one?
Oh, no. Maybe a little bit, but no.
Look, I got faith.
Danger, danger. This call is from your father. 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 Danger, danger.
I got faith. I want to see them chilling there. Cool, though. Going to get knocked down by Vico. That's the potential third elimination, maintaining that consistency that they've done throughout the day of at least 3 eliminations per match. Already doing so before the late game, once again.
That's 54 points on the minimum elims, not counting if they get more, but that's 54 points through 3 games. You added another 18 points for those 3 elims they got here. These guys are just tearing things up, and I think Chap and Teeny have noticed that. They have their gap mainly because of the elimination difference between them and everybody else in the lobby. So if Chap and Teeny can continue the same amount of pressure, kind of match them in some of these end games, obviously they're going to have to overtake them overall, but I think they're going to have a contender on our hands.
A deserved first place spot currently for Vico and Flixie. You can see boxed up on a nitro barrel. Meanwhile, Malabuk and Merstash have just maintained that position. They learned from the previous game. Do not want to get their spot robbed from them this time around, as more and more players start to rotate towards them.
Yeah, it's just going to give them more and more chances to just build up on that surge. See them just looking all around, trying to see, okay, who's where are these players positioned, just in case the zone does pull over towards the south. And that's what's going to be key, because that's why you see them both peeking, both in zone, outside of zone. You see them at times look in 2 different directions, just trying to get all this information, soak it up so they can formulate a strategy.
I like the line of sight that Merstash and Malabuka have here. So much vision on all the players rotating on in. Desi T-Chips gonna crash pad themselves out of this situation. It was Casper and Prism that were trying to take shots, but Casper, a huge shot connected onto him. I'm wondering if it was T-Chips in the sky or another duo that's already boxed up. Would have been an insane shot if it was Desi or T-Chips.
Yeah, just unfortunately they don't have the heals to kind of out-heal the zone opening up. So they're forced to kind of launch pad in towards the zone. They have the choice if they want to try and backtrack, but immediate looks like Voltiax and Cool might be low on surge, so they have nowhere else to go. It's usually the first team that you box up next to. And it even looks like Voltiax is by himself. That makes it an exponentially harder position to be in as a solo with very, very few options.
46 damage above, 1 big pot solve that's left for Casper. They barely made it into zone here. Good news is they have pulled 6 zone. Issue is they need that damage. They have a lot of options close by, one of them being T-Chips and Desi, the duo that they were fighting just a moment ago.
That's where the game's going to get tough. Like I said, 6 zone, it will pull away from Rift Island. This one's going to go open up, and then we kind of got a 50-50 anywhere on the edge of these zones, so hopefully position yourself in the middle. Takata, you got equal ground as Kiduho and Nebs just trying to find their way out of zone. What I said early on in this game is they usually find themselves down on surge, and this time around they're 59 above. It's not a lot, but at least they're above on surge, which means they're at least attempting to adapt and change up their game plan so far.
Yeah, progress and adaptation. That's what it's all about. Salvadil and Reason kind of flying through the skies with their crash pad flowberry combination to hook themselves onto an elevated location. It's a great idea when you need that damage to stay elevated. If you can do so while conserving materials, even better, as you'll have the best line of sight and options to get those tags on the players rotating on in. West side is where the pack is going to be. All those duos boxed up close to each other with even more options to get damage. So if you need surge, stay close to the pack. If you don't, stay away from the pack for safer rotates, consuming less shields and mats on your rotation.
Needs to heal.
That's got to be careful.
Yeah, he needs to heal. He needs to heal quick. I think Storm Surge is getting ready to activate. Literally seconds off of going down, and they're falling further below that damage threshold. They need to be proactive now while it's manageable, while they can still get it from a distance and not force themselves into an all-in. 1 tick, that's all Nebs can take. 25 HP and shield. He still ends up with 1 HP somehow, some way, and that's the chance that he's trying to take, but he goes down, leaving it all up to Kiduo here as a solo. There's a duo in the box, but they pre-fire, take him down altogether. Their struggles for Storm Surge continue on the day.
Very unfortunate timing on that crack. Was forced to kind of pop the flowberry and not even look for tags at that point. Just stay up. Swizzy Ben, yeah, they had the elevated position previously. Now they're down in the sand, as they are going to be forced to use a crash pad to get themselves right back up. That's looking quite clean.
Yeah, quick and easy rotation for them. And you see again, they just kind of position themselves above everybody else. They elevate themselves on top of that. Just making sure if they have a chance to go at high ground, they can at least see it and get ready for it. But right now, they're focused on Demacia and Cashy on the other side of that build. There's one team that's isolated as of now, but if you look at the west side of the map in the mini-map, at least half of the lobby has yet to make it into zone.
Malibuca Merstash being the only duo on that east side, west from the position we're looking at now. 309 above though, so rightfully so. They're not in desperation for any dags, basically. You can never have too much damage, but 323 above should be more than enough for the time being.
It's only a 44 differential in points between first and second. But Merstash and Malibuca almost 140 points down, which doesn't seem like too much with the 1.5 times multiplier. What's going to make it hard is the fact that Vico and Flixie have been so consistent and things getting pushed back. 451 points. This is not a time to go down while you're in the race in the last half of the day, last half of the games overall, but he is going to fall, make it exponentially harder for Ping and Wox in the next game if they want to take first.
They were in 4th place going into this match, close to the top 3, but that could be detrimental to them if Swizzy, Vanya, Chaptini, and Vico and Flixie can continue to lead the pack.
Good portion of the lobby pulling zone as well, and you got to keep in mind that Vico and Flixie do have that forecast tower. Whether if it's the one by Reckless Wheels or a little bit farther away, they do like to contest for it. Gives them the best chance to make a lot of those early game rotations, save a lot of their resources. Not everybody else having as easy as a run. But Malibuca and Merstash, with the elevation that they had in that last zone, they quickly make it towards the front side of the zone and elevate themselves above that mess down below yet again.
Just connected by a couple of ramps. They might get shots taken at them, but Yanis has found something. It's been getting eliminated, both him and Pixie. Something quickly went wrong for that duo. Swizzy Vanyak rotating a bit later than the rest of the pack to try and elevate themselves more. Chap and Teeny, 5 eliminations already. Solid loadout, more than enough materials and shields. This could be a huge game for them.
Yeah, they still got a little bit of a gap to close, but they're on the right track. We saw Malibuca Merstash at least try to gain some elevation, but above them, even higher in the sky, Swizzy, Vanya. But this is kind of like business as usual. I feel like you cannot be surprised anymore by their consistency and ability to get the high ground late in these games.
You can see how extra elevated they want to go. We know the potential of Flowberry crash pads in the late game for retaking that high ground. So you really want to stay extra elevated, and doing a good job of building that middle. So it's going to be fully constructed by the time they want to use it. Chinyo losing his duo partner. Skavigo's down now. Forrest is rotated out as a solo. Good news is he has a bit of damage, but how long will it last?
He doesn't really have any builds. He's just trying to hide underneath, but he gets spotted out, forced to reposition yet again. The great scramble as high ground comes crashing down, but Swizzy saw that one from a mile away. He quickly drops. He knows Malibuca and Merstash are right below, but he also knows he has to keep on rotating. Zone is forcing them in, and with great shots on a Merstash, he tries to follow up on that elimination, but it gets stolen away by Nathan, and he's not wanting to get too greedy. Keep control of the high ground, because there's still teams like Chap and Teeny that are waiting. You see them in the corner to chop down the high ground and steal it away.
That was perfect from Swizzy and Vanya. They saw the Merstash Malibuca were second height and potentially going to look up, so they applied that pressure. Merstash went down, and now Malibuca has been left alone.
Swizzy, Vanya still trying to elevate themselves, but Chapatini have now, at that point in the game, they're trying to go up, and they know they have some damage spraying down into their boxes, taking different angles, not wanting to let them breathe here in the situation, but they're going to be forced to continue to drop, give up the high ground for free, and look at the materials on the Chap at the bare minimum. If Teeny can barely match this, they're going to be in high ground, and they're going to be up there for days.
I have a vision, Jacob. I have a vision, and Chap and Teeny are the shining bright light in that vision as they continue to tarp ahead. But it's going to be Swizzy Vanya. They're not done. They say, give me my height back as the shots connect. Teeny now the last person standing up above for Swizzy and Vanya to annihilate.
They got their get back there in that moment, but Chap is still trying to hold on. Both of them got just very little HP. One's going to be forced to drop. Swizzy's just watching all around, but they're only doing it layer by layer. They don't want to fully give up this high ground. Flowberry fizzes out. I think Swizzy saw that one coming and immediately builds up, trying to expend the map. This is probably the longest battle for high ground we've seen all season long.
And it's not done yet. Teeny and Chap do not want to drop down. They just continue holding their roof, making sure that the bullets don't pass through. But Vanya and Swizzy keep applying that pressure. When is the second retake going to come through?
Yeah, you see the map differential moments ago to now from 80 plus builds to 13. That shows how persistent, how bad Chap and Teeny want that high ground. And another crash pad play is coming out. It's getting formulated right now, but Vaniac sees it coming. Great defensive fire yet again. Teeny's gonna get dropped. The defense is looking real for Swizzy and Vanya, but Chap is not done just yet. He knows there was a lot of damage that got dealt out just a few seconds ago. He's got to guess that they're weak on builds as well. Another shot being fired. Swizzy's down. Vanya strikes, but he goes down as well.
Both third place team goes down. And to who? Guess what? To Vico and Flixie, the #1 duo currently on the leaderboard, taking out second place, taking out third place, and looking to close it out.
Yeah. You guys can go ahead and fight for second. You guys can fight for third because first place right now from Vico and Flixie is looking like it's going to pull further and further away from everybody else in that top 10 situation. And now they have a chance to win a big game here late in the FNCS tournament. They have full pressure, they have full elevation, and nobody even has a chance to look up.
The job's not finished. Annihilation continues as Vico drops down. They've already secured 2 incredibly impactful eliminations on the top duos, but they have to close it out now, and CZB and Nathan are the ones blocking their path.
Hey, if any time is to prove your formidable opponent, it's this one, but Vico with the quick shutdown, Flixie with the high ground. They get both of the eliminations on Nathan and CZB. They win the game, and they've extended their lead further.
No problem at all for Vico and Flixie, extending that gap within the leaderboard, standing high on their throne in the first place spot. You know that this match meant everything. Yeah, Vico and Flixie.
They had to be watching high ground almost that whole time. They were Swizzy, Vanya, Chap, Teeny battling it out. A lot of builds from Chap and Teeny came out. They just weren't able to hold it. As soon as Vico and Flixie went up, everybody else got taken down and sent out of the lobby.
I can't wait to see how that shakes things up on the leaderboard. The confidence is there for Vico and Flixie. There's just a couple matches left before we crown our champions. But before that, we need to take a minute to refuel the battle bus, so don't go anywhere.
Might go live on Twitch after run ads. Like I'm doing a 3-minute ad right here on Twitch. Start. Really, Sigma. I'm not Sigma.
Well, if things were not hot enough, there goes Vico and Flixie showing why they are currently the odds-on favourites to pick up the Axe of Champions at the end of today's competition. Just an absolute masterclass from these two. High ground, no problem. We'll let our enemies eliminate each other. We'll just do a quick clean-up, then we'll pop back down and secure the victory royale, Evan.
That is an FNCS winning performance right there. That is a defining performance. The way they took height at the end there was just, it was very symbolic in that you just saw all these top teams fighting for you. You had Swizzy Vanya up there, you had Chapentini up there, who swoops in at the end to solidify their claim as the #1 team in the lobby. It's Vico, it's Flixie. What a game it's been, what a 2 days it's been for them, Miniminer.
Yeah, I mean, just watching them throughout that game, it's just so good to watch. Vico in particular, they're dropping down to find those final 2 eliminations. And going into this game, they had an 18th place in that last game just before, right? And I was like, how are they going to bounce back from this? We haven't really seen them have that bad of a game so far this weekend. And they have just proven why they deserve to be in that top spot. Looking at the stats as well, Frankie, there's so many amazing statistics that just trump everyone else in the lobby, it seems like.
I mean, the game sense from these two is just on another level. They get at least 3 eliminations per game, and the average being 5.4. It is just unbelievable. They are a Duo 11 that can do it all.
They are just unbeatable in fights. They just eliminate everybody in their way, right? We can talk about game sense, this game sense. These guys are 2 of the best fighters. It's funny because at the start of the season, you know, when they got together, everybody said that this is going to be the EU version of Peterbot and Poyo, right? And when I asked Vico about those comparisons, he said, look, we got to chill a bit. I don't know if we're at that level. But, I mean, they're sure as hell doing their best impression of that, right? They are doing so good when it comes to just fragging out.
And what I love about this duo is, apologies for interrupting you, Miniminer, but the fact that they're so confident. They might not be getting ahead of themselves in terms of their interviews, but the fact that they're ahead right now, some teams might rest on their laurels or maybe get a bit nervous about holding on to that lead. But I feel like Miniminer, that's not going to be an issue for them.
Yeah, we saw no signs of nerves right there, when maybe we might have seen a little bit of nerves going to day 2 or indeed day 1 of Grants in Vico's past, maybe. But no, I mean, I'm thinking back to a mid-game elimination that they had when they used that Nitro ring. Literally just W-key the team that were in their box. Vico hit about 3 or 4 headshots with his SMG and completely destroyed the other team. It just seems like no matter what problem, no matter what situation, no matter what zone they find themselves in, they're always able to eliminate people in that area, and that's why they're over 100 points ahead of Chapentini with 54 eliminations. It's just, they're putting on an absolute masterclass right now.
And can we also just draw attention to the fact that Chapentini came second in Major #2. That's when they booked their spot in Global Championships in Fort Worth in September, and they have looked fantastic, particularly on day 2 this time around, Levin.
They absolutely have. Chap, again, Vico will take all of the plaudits as being the best player in this grand finals, and rightfully so, but Chap continues to solidify himself as one of the best players in the world. I mean, 2 FNCSs looking like 2 second places. That is incredible. It's not something we've seen ever in EU. So, again, really impressive stuff from these guys. And it's a bit unfortunate the way they lost height towards the end there, right? They were got in a bit of a very heated battle with Swizzy and Vanya, but still did well all in all.
Seems like a lot of the top teams are just great fighters, aren't they? 2 individual fighters, 2 individual fraggers that are just so good mechanically, and then coming together in this FNCS to just put on an absolute show. Even there at the end game, Chapentini, you saw them trying to play for height. They even kept on to that second height for a really long time. Tini had so many materials that they had to try and take it. I think that's the point of the tournament we're getting at right now. We've got 2 games to go. Teams that want to try and get that big victory, maybe you're just on the cusp of getting into those global championship spots. You need to try and make those big height plays, so I expect more chaos.
Well, talking about high plays, I was just so excited, Levin, to see Swizzy and Vaniak challenging successfully to take that high ground. I know, obviously, Chapentini came along spot their day, and then Vico ended everyone's dreams in a flash. But if you think back to Major 2, I mean, Swizzy and Vaniak just dominated high ground almost every single game. So to see them in their comfort zone makes me very happy indeed.
Yeah, I was really optimistic. You know, I think Mini, you called it, yeah, they won this game at a certain point, right? Because it just looked so set up for them to do really well. But then in the end, again, like we sort of highlighted, it was so many top teams up there. It's interesting for Swizzy and Vanya. They're the only team in the lobby that on a consistency game-to-game basis could chat to Vico and Flixie, right? They've been ultra consistent throughout these games, making it to endgame more often than not. But again, they're just getting out-fragged by Vico and Flixie. On average, it's almost double what Vico and Flixie have than what Swizzy and Vanyak do. So again, top performances from Swizzy and Vanya, but they're just a better team in the lobby right now that is just better in all facets, it feels like.
And we have just headed on to page number 2, but in 4th place at the moment, Nathan and CZB. They are actually gaining in momentum as we head towards the end of the grand finals. And yesterday, I mean, I was praising them. I was like, right, these are human highlight machines. Levin, you didn't want to go that far, but you have to admit, 38 eliminations on the board. Now we're seeing them in every single end game. I think these guys are stars of the future. I think they could be future champions come next season.
They've been really good, and that's been the theme across the season. If you've watched Nathan and CCP, if you've watched any of the cash cups, they're always going to be in the top 5. It feels like it was just about, can they deliver on that sort of performance in a grand finals lobby? They finally start to figure things out. I'm super happy for them to see, so I'm going to be rooting for them to be at Globals and supporting them there.
However, man, we want to see CZB representing in the United States of America. We just have 2 more games to go. Can anyone dethrone Vico and Flixie? I'm not so sure, but I want to find out what Jacob, PR, and Takata think.
Yeah, I'm watching FNC's
I don't know if anyone's going to dethrone them, Frankie, but what I can tell you is last major after 10 matches, Swizzy and Vanya were leading the pack with 89 points. And now Vico and Flixie are leading the pack with 108 points. More dominant than what we saw in last major. Can they keep it up for the last match, Jacob? Only time will tell.
Yeah, and I like